What's going on, everyone? I'm Shizwack, and I'm back with another Should I Buy It, where I take a game of your choosing or my choosing, break it down, rip it apart, and give you everything you need to know to make that sound decision on a purchase. Let me waste my money so you don't have to. Today, I bring you Miscreated. Miscreated is an indie survival MMO open world. Think Daisy, Warzy, Breaking Point. If you liked any of those games, this may appeal to you. You see this early access disclaimer on my screen. Miscreated is currently in early access alpha, not even close to being finished. There's many mechanics missing. There's not a whole lot as far as content and enemy types and even items. Being early access, there's still a lot of work to do. You're going to see what I mean by that in this video today. This shouldn't take very long. I'm going to walk you through it, show you what's what, and then you can decide whether or not you want to spend that money. Let's rock and roll. You'll see right away. Settings, keybinds, player setup, and join server. That's all we have right now. Player setup is just your name. Keybinds are pretty straightforward. So far they just give you the layout of the keyboard, what does what, and you see here if I click on anything, you can't change anything yet. For whatever reason, the dev does not want you messing with those settings yet. We're going to join server. You'll also notice, not many players right now. It is the middle of the afternoon where I am too, so that is another thing to note, but we're going to jump on a US East server here. I'm going to get into one without any players so I can kind of focus on just showing you around a bit about item hunting, enemies, maybe some wildlife, and just the world in general. Here we go. So here I am loaded in the middle of a grocery store. You'll see here it's first person. There's third person, of course, where it's right over the shoulder, kind of behind your character. I personally enjoy first person in this game. I find third person a little clunky right now. So, of course, there could be more tweaking and everything else coming in the future, but for now, I'm going to stick to first person. Items in this game are laying out pretty much like Daisy. You'll see items lying around as you go. One thing to note about items in Miscreated is that they're not that easy to find. To find a hatchet, depending on where you are, isn't necessarily going to be easy. So you really have to look around. I found it took me a bit longer than I was used to get geared up and get some viable gear to feel a little bit more comfortable walking around this desolate post-apocalyptic world. So I'm going to open my inventory with the G button. Pretty basic layout. You have squares, and then you'll also see there's many places to equip things. So your backpack, you have 4 different spots for weapons. So far I was only able to put a weapon into 2 and 3, being my hatchet and this pistol I found, which I have no ammo for yet. Then you have your head. You have your face, a neck piece. For whatever reason you'd need a neck piece in this time, I don't know. I guess it's just for aesthetics. Your jacket or shirt, your shoulders. So there's shoulder pieces, pads, whatever. I haven't found any yet, but that could be neat for aesthetic and armor reasons. Gloves. Then you get into forearms and thighs and calves. Thighs and calves here as well. So I'm assuming that's for different kinds of armor. You'll also notice there's a crafting button here. If you click that, you can merge items. Now, from what I've investigated so far, there isn't a whole lot that can be done in this window yet. Right now, I can only merge some scrap metal to make metal, some scrap wood of some kind to make lumber. I'm sure there's further plans for that down the road. Crafting should be a big part of any survival game, so they do have plans for that, just to note. So that's the inventory in a nutshell. We have drinks. You are less thirsty. Food. You are less hungry, and you can keep eating and drinking until it says you are no longer hungry. You are no longer thirsty. You hear that mutant. There's only one type of enemy that I've seen so far. It's these weird-looking mutants. They all look the same, and they all have a big spike on their arm. Kind of freaky looking, and they're actually very hard to kill, so I just try to avoid them altogether. Let's just scramble around here for a little bit and try to pick some shit up. Sunglasses, I'll take them. Those will go on our face, I'm assuming. A spot for our eyes, right there. Food is always useful. You just look at the item, push the F key, and you'll pick it up. I see a lot of potential in this game. If the devs are going to do what they say they're going to do, and Keep working on it. There's a mutant right there. He hasn't spotted me yet. From what I've read, we have weather systems incoming. You'll see there's already a temperature symbol down in the bottom right corner, and those are stats which I'll go over in a minute that count for how well you're doing as far as survival goes. Here comes a mutant. Let's get the fuck out of here. Hunting. There's going to be different types of wildlife, which I'm assuming you're going to be able to skin. The world is interesting enough. There's lots to explore. They're claiming that it's 64 kilometers squared. If it is yet, I'm not sure, because I've only seen some of the coast here. Has potential to be a very enormous map to keep exploring. So I'm in this old, run-down, overgrown town. That mutant is still chasing me. Let's see, the graphics aren't too bad. I have had no performance hiccups of any sort so far. It's been running pretty smooth, no crashes. The only problems I hear of are people having trouble connecting to servers. There's another mutant there. Let's get the fuck out of this town. How's that sound? Like I said, the mutants are very hard to kill. I found myself circle strafing around them, and even then, once I finally killed them, I still took a mega beating, had to bandage up. Into the forest we go. So down below you'll see there's a blood icon, which would be your health, food for food, liquids of sorts to keep drinking, which would be soda, and any water bottles you will find will help that, of course. Temperature. At night it does get cold, I've learned that so far. That will start to change color. These icons go by color, really, so red being critical, yellow being not so bad, and so on. We all know how those colors would work. The water looks quite nice. And then there's a radiation symbol, which I'm assuming there'll be radiated areas eventually. That could get into a critical state, you may have to fix it in whatever way. There's a deer right there, so I have nothing to kill it right now. Let me see if I can... Boom, bitch! This is the only form of wildlife that I have seen. Can I do anything with it? Nothing yet. So that is not yet implemented. You'll see there's a nice motion blur they've worked into the engine. Works pretty well, isn't too fierce. If you take damage, you start bleeding. To fix the bleeding, you need to bandage, and then you have to let your blood regenerate. Now, bandages are only temporary. They eventually fall off, so you need to re-bandage if you're in the state of bleeding still. And you'll know you're bleeding if that icon is a different color and you have blood stains around the edge of your screen. Last time I took damage, I basically went through, I'd say, 2 to 3 bandages before I was good to go. Lots of potential, but there isn't a whole lot to do right now. So of course there's survival. There's not a ton of players playing it yet. I think first of all that a lot of the gaming community doesn't even know this game exists. I forget how I found out about it. I just stumbled on it and I said, what the hell is this? For $25 to $30 depending on where you are, and I picked it up. I intended to give you guys this video from it as well. I see it being a very nice thing if they can stick to what they're promising. Vehicles, weather systems, crafting. There's no stamina yet. You can run forever. You do not tire. It's important to note as well that there's no local voice talking. It does not support voice chat yet. That is something I think a game really needs, especially of this sort. How am I going to interact with people? I need to be able to speak, to say, you know, put your hands up or come with me, whatever. I mean, you need to be able to talk, you need to be able to communicate. Now there is a chat window that you can open up and you can type locally. I will show you that once this mutant is off my ass. You can go for a swim in Miscreated. There is a swimming mechanic. Let's follow this scary path, see where it takes us. There's my pistol, which I do not have ammo for yet. A camp. So there are neat little areas like this that you'll run into. Houses are fun enough to explore. The one thing I find about this game is that it's not always easy to see items. Sometimes they're hidden in fridges or cupboards. You really have to get down and look around. It's not so apparent when you walk into a room and if there's a shirt on the floor or a gun under the bed. You really need to get down and look to see if there's anything there, which recreates the sense of scavenging, in my opinion. Nice lighting effects. The nights get really dark. And here's that chat window I was talking about. So you can whisper, you can speak local or the area, and you just type and push enter. Here's an old rundown house. Let's take a look. See there, a perfect example. Tomato juice in the drawer. You gotta look in those drawers. Look closely. A bandage in the sink. House clear. Another thing I love about this game, actually, it's kind of minor, but it's the glass effects. I was in a house the other day, it was getting dark, and I heard a mutant, and I saw his silhouette kind of walk by the window in this foggy overlay they have here, this translucent look for the glass, and it added quite the atmosphere, and it was creepy as all fuck, actually. So there it is, guys. Miscreated. Still very early access. Not a whole lot to do right now. If you want to get in, help the devs, give your advice and opinion, give the bug updates, everything they're looking for from the community in an early access game, now's a good time to get into it. I mean, it's not that it's not fun to play, but you're just very limited to what you can do, especially the fact that there is no voice chat in the game yet. Kind of holds you back on the let me go in and interact, at least that'll give me something to do. So all you can really do is run around, avoid mutants, and pick shit up. That's really it in a nutshell. Lots to explore, but hey, they're apparently working fast on the game. They gave a big dev update the other day on the direction on which way they are going, and it seems all signs point to promising if they stick to the plan. Lots of talent so far I can see in this game, from the sound effects, the ambient noises are great, weather system, the graphics, to even the direction and organization that the devs are showing. It looks like this game is going in the right direction and will appeal to any DayZ, Breaking Point, or Z, H1Z1 kind of player. So if you like survival, give it a go. Don't be too critical yet. Be careful with this one. As far as spending your money, you may not feel you'll get $25 worth of game yet. They do warn you that it's early access, so just be sure to take it as such. And there it is, Miscreated. Hope you enjoyed that video. If you want to see something else covered, be sure to hit me up on my YouTube page or Twitter. That's Shizwack, all one word. Catch me on Twitter, Twitch TV, and YouTube. Have a great one, guys. Peace.